Get this thing going. How's everybody doing? What's up, Melanated family? What's going on? What's going on today? Got a special interview for everybody. Let me bring my boy on. Today we're going to interview Matt Prestbury from Black Fathers Foundation. Brother I've been following for a while. Has a great organization for black fathers. So we're going to talk to the brother today. You know what I mean? Get an idea why he started his organization. Get an idea what his plans are. You know what I mean? Let me invite the brother on. Let's see here. Let's see. 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 All right, so we'll see him here in a minute. Let me send the brother the invite again, just so he can know we got things ready and popping for him. So let's see here. Are you there? Who's that? Are you there? Matt Berry, there we go. Put a brother right there. Get everything ready for him. Let's see here.
Hey,
What's up, brother?
what's happening?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to get this together. They made me turn my phone all around, so
Yeah.
trying to get my angles right. I think I got it.
Take your time.
I think I'm good. Let me turn this up a little bit so I can hear you. Check.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. There we go.
All right. So I want to welcome everybody to the Melanated Fathers TV YouTube channel, Facebook page. If everybody have an idea what I do a lot of on my platforms. I focus a lot on our families, our black families, our children, the fathers, of course. Being a father of 5 myself, 4 kids by the age of 24. Did a lot of things incorrectly, in my opinion, but my platforms is a way to learn about our history, learn about the importance of unity, just learn what we need to do as a community. And when I started this platform, I began to seek out everybody I felt was kind of doing the same thing, right? And I found this brother a while ago, and not the organization part. I just seen a Facebook page, right? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna join every Facebook page that's talking about what I'm talking about, just so I can spread my message to the best of my ability. So I found this brother's Facebook page and his Facebook group, rather. And this was like my first introduction to Facebook groups. So I didn't know the validity of them, how important they were, right? And his Facebook group, Black Fathers, it had thousands of people on it. People responded quickly. People, when I would post articles from my website, they would go to my, you know what I mean? It was extremely impactful. So I continued to follow the brother and seeing that he started an organization. So I was like, you know what? It's time, man. I got to talk to the brother. Got to get an idea of what he's doing, why he doing what he's doing. We all understand everything we go through in this country. We need all hands on deck, literally. So when I see brothers helping out, because some of us don't. Some of us have good hearts. We love our family, but we don't necessarily spread that to our communities for whatever reason, right? So when I see a brother do that, I make it a point to reach out to him, let him know I'm supporting him, and I'm always stress what he do, right? So today, I got the brother Matt Prestbury on the line with me from Black Fathers Foundation. How you doing, brother?
Yes, sir. I'm blessed and highly favored, man. Happy to be here.
Definitely. So what I wanted to do, because we're going to get into your organization and what you do and how helpful you are, but I'm always interested in the why, right? So I'm going to ask you a question just to get an idea of why even do this? Because like I said, you can make a lot of money in America, get a nice job, and just worry about your family. And every time I see somebody reach out to all of us, that's really intriguing to me. So you're from Baltimore, right?
Absolutely, all day long. East Baltimore, to be exact.
Okay, so talk to me about your childhood, bro. Like, were you in an environment where there was a father there was 2 parents there? How'd that work out for you?
So, my first, I guess 8, 9 years of life, yeah, my mother and father were married. I had 3 sisters and a brother. My oldest sister was way older than me. So she, we had a relationship, but she wasn't in the house. So for the most part, grew up with the other two sisters and my brother who was 10 years older than me. So yeah, for that time period, we had a great relationship. My father and I, we've done so many things that I'll never ever forget.
Mm.
We would just jump in the car and take road trips on the weekends. One weekend we drove to Montreal, Canada, and this was, way back when you didn't need, it wasn't all about the passports and all that. You could just cross over, go check it out, come back when you felt like it.
Damn.
So we did that. We went, and we didn't even speak French. We just ran to Montreal, so that's how my father was. We would do stuff like that. We went to Mexico. So just a whole lot of adventures and memories that I'll never forget. Now, when he and my mom separated, it was a little bit tough at first, just living with my dad. So yeah, he was a single father for a minute. But again, my brother is 10 years older than me, my sister 3 years older. So, they definitely played a part too as well, because we were all still living together at that time. Fast forward a little bit, when I was 12, 13, going into seventh grade, I moved with my mom, who had remarried. So at that point, there was still a time when I was going to see my dad, and we were still keeping that kind of relationship, like weekends go over and all of that stuff. But it got to a point where that, just didn't happen quite as much. So just long story short, my father has always been involved in my life. He's always been around. I could always call him. He hasn't always reached out to me. So, it's one of those kind of more or less one-way relationships where if it's going to happen, it's going to happen by my efforts, and he's kind of like, well, I'm your father, so you're supposed to reach out, and that whole sort of thing. So yeah, that's the relationship we've had. So we've still, it's been here and there. We get up and we go and do things together. But after I moved out, we just did not have that closeness. But I let everybody know, my father never a deadbeat. There's a lot of things he could have done better, but he's always been there. There's definitely some things he could have done better.
Yeah.
But he's always been in my life and always been there, and I thank him for that. So
that's what's up, and that's important. I always want to ask that question because I know me, me growing up, right? I didn't have a dad. My dad died when I was 8. A lot of my friends didn't, but I know kids who did have a father, and I know kids who, because sometimes they hit us with the 77% of single parent homes. And I was reading the article to a brother I know the other day that those numbers don't clarify all the details, meaning you have fathers who don't live with their kids, who get them on the weekends, get them every other day. This is accounting for that type of thing. You know what I mean? So it's important that we tell stories like yours that isn't just cut and dry. Sometimes you can
no doubt about it.
You know what I mean? You can have a kid who was raised in a 2-parent home and that ends up being his life. You have kids who dad come, but he's still there. He's still available, picks up the phone. He'll come get you when you need to. That's important as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely is. And I'm glad that we understand that and we push that out, because I'm so tired of people who bring up that number as if that is the end all be all, because it's absolutely not. I know men that go pick their children up every single day. They take them to school. They get them from school. They take them back to the mother. And that is the relationship. That's the dynamic. So, you have to respect that and understand that that man is still involved. It's like, it's wild, because you probably saw this. Somebody had, I guess it was a tweet initially, and they were like, I don't understand how these men be having multiple children and living in a 1-bedroom apartment where the kids going to sleep. And I was like, man, do they really want the answers, or they just want to dump on men? I don't know, how PG I have to be, so I'm gonna say dump.
No.
Do they just want to dump on men?
Big freely.
That's brother. Do they just want to shit on men? Because that's what it sounds like. Because if we flip the script, we would never say that about a mother.
Never.
We would say she's doing the best she can with what it is she has.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that. My real point in saying that is that we don't know everybody's background. We don't know what they're dealing with. And a lot of time, us as men, we get judged, and, people will say, oh, well, he don't sleep there every night, so, what is he doing or whatever. You don't know what he's doing. He could be taking them to Jeepers every single day, Chuck E. Cheese. I'm dating myself, right? But, he could be doing that stuff every single day and then dropping them off and going on about his business. You just don't know. So we have to stop being so quick to judge, especially for men, because we do not give men the grace that we give women. And that's just a fact, Jack. It just is.
Very true. Very true. Now, so I wanted to get into So that's important. So that's important to understand, like, the foundation for why you would want to do all of this, right? Because it seems like your dad was there and you don't have a traumatic story. Like, because you just mentioned maybe he could have did more, but you're not saying that was the
Yeah.
attempt.
Right. So what I'll say is now it's interesting because when you mention trauma, it's not traumatic in a sense of, you know, a complete loss or him just being totally abandoned me. But in hindsight, you know, I'm going, my wife and I, in marriage counseling, and we're doing fantastic. But the thing is that we are discovering through the process a lot of things that happened to us in the past and how they still affect us to this day. So even to this day, I'm still affected by the fact that it was a one-way relationship. Whereas, you know, if I wanted to be doing anything with my dad or talking to him, whatever it was, I had to make the effort. So yeah, no, it's not the worst thing in the world. You know, I mean, he could have dropped dead a long time ago. Anything could have happened. So it's not, you know, not the worst thing in the world, but still that does affect me. And I think that also does play a part in the way that I am too, because when I think about it, I can't be a hypocrite because, you know, I mean, sometimes it's just nature. As the dad, we feel like, you know, the respect thing is that you come to me as the child, right? But it needs to work both ways. So I know that I have to make efforts as well to reach out to my kids, and I can't just expect everything to work one way either. So I think it's good. A lot of things that we do as fathers, we do because of, and a lot of things we do in spite of.
Spite of.
Right?
Sir.
See?
Yep.
So some of what I got from him is because of, and some is in spite of.
But I guess the beautiful thing is you're using those experiences in trying to help other fathers. And
Yes,
once we
absolutely.
grow, we can contextualize what our parents was going through. That's what I try
Yep.
to tell a lot of young people. You may not like your father or may be unhappy with things he did, but once you become a man, you get to see, okay, maybe that's why he did it. Because I'm doing some of the
Yes.
same stuff now. You know what I mean? That makes
Yeah. And one thing I want to do, because my pops is up there in age, he's lived a long, fantastic life, and you know, God willing, he'll live longer. But I want to get a chance and make time, not even just take time, but make time for us to sit down and for him to be able to really tell his story, because he's tried in different ways over the years, but I don't really know everything that I could know, and I think that would help me have an understanding of why he did some of the things that he did as well. So I you know, as much as I don't necessarily like it, I don't blame him for it, because I just don't know. It could have really been something that happened. And I know that his father was not there. So, you know, he didn't necessarily have an example. So it really could have been a case with him doing, you know, what he thought was right based on whatever he had to teach him how to be a father.
There we
You
go.
know?
There we go. Man, that's so powerful, bro. We never consider
Yeah.
what type of trauma did my mom or dad go through when they were kids?
Right.
Did they have?
Right.
And that's sitting down with a parent, because both of my parents are gone now. But I
Mm-hmm.
wish when I was younger I would have been able to sit down with them and just get an idea of how did all this happen
Yeah.
from an adult perspective. Tell me all how all this happened,
Yeah.
and you'll get a better perspective. You know.
Yeah, no doubt. And I have to make that happen, because once my pop is gone, he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's too late. So I really want to get that done while I have the opportunity, because I think it'll mean a lot to me, a
Mm-hmm.
whole lot to me, to understand a lot of his whys.
Definitely, definitely. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Facebook group. I just seen something you posted the other day where it was like 77,000 followers, which is
Yeah.
great shit. Tell me, like, why? Because we talking about your dad and your experience, but tell me why the
Mhm.
group? Because again, I read everything on your website, but this is just from my audience. Tell me why the group?
Gotcha.
Why was it important you took to create that?
So there are a few things. I'll take a little step back. I was married once before, and I had two sons. My ex-wife and I had two sons together. Um, she and I split up. She came home one night, and she just said, "This is not working. You got to go." And so I left, jumped on a bus, went across town to my mom's house, but before I left, I told her I'm never not going to be in my sons' lives, and I'm coming back to get them. And that's exactly what I did the next day. I jumped back on the bus, went all the way across town from East Baltimore, West Baltimore, got my sons, took them back on the bus to my mom's house, and they've been with me ever since. So going through that ordeal was really part of what inspired me. There are quite a few things that really inspired me. Going through that made me want to develop some kind of way to bring fathers together, um, whether they were going through the same sort of thing I was going through or not. I just actually, what happened, I met my current wife and we started going to church together. And one day we went to church and there was like a bulletin board and it talked about like a picnic they had or something like that. And so as I was looking at those pictures, this is really when it started to come to me, not specifically for the group, but just my work with fathers, period. I wanted to create something similar, an event like that, but it was really just for fathers, for a chance for fathers to come out and bring their children, and we all bond with each other, and our children bond with each other and that sort of thing. So that's what really started me with the idea of bringing men together in various capacities. Then the other thing was with my life, you know, having friends, but never having really feeling like that real close circle where we just get together and we do things, we shoot the shit, we go do this and do that, you know. So, you know, you have people in and out your life and you have friends, but you want to create everything that I do really is social in nature because it's just about bringing people together.
Mm.
And part of that is just fulfilling for me to have these people, you know, come together and we doing stuff together and all that sort of thing. But I know how it resonates out to other people too. And the feeling that it gets when you're in like-minded company with, you know, with people that go through the same sort of things that you do. And to give us an opportunity really to talk about things that we don't necessarily ordinarily talk about as men. We could talk all day about LeBron and
There you
you know and
go.
this and that.
Yep,
We
yep,
can talk about how much ass Shorty got,
yeah,
and you know,
yeah.
and all of that sort of stuff. We talk about all of that stuff, but rarely. And I know at the time when I really first started doing this, it was like nobody was just getting together with their homeboys and talking about, yo, my kid potty training. Oh yeah, I'm so excited. Or my baby's due in this time. Like nobody was doing that.
Yeah,
Nobody. I
yeah.
promise you. So it was that too, that opportunity to really bring us together and get us to talk about those sorts of things and feel comfortable talking about those things and sharing our ups, our downs, and all of that sort of stuff. And then the other thing was really looking around in the media and just not seeing accurate representations of us. Like just in general, as fathers, you know, you look at a parent's magazine and 99%, if not 100% of everything in there focuses on moms, right? So in a general sense, you just barely have fathers, period, right? And when you see men that are fathers in the media, usually they're black men that have done some shit, they ready to go to jail or
Mm-hmm,
some shit like that. You know what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? So I wanted to also give us a space where we could say, yo, we ain't all that, right? We ain't all criminals. We ain't all out here making babies we're not taking care of. We are not all that mainstream media wants to portray us to be. So that really was the point right there. When I looked at those magazines, I'm like, I got to do something. And this was my opportunity to do something to really change how I felt like we were viewed in the media. And it was an opportunity not only to change it, but to change it with us telling our own stories, not going to convince somebody, not, hey, ABC, can you make black men look like this? No, we're not begging you to do nothing. You out there, you know, you got your agenda. That's cool. We're going to run with our own stuff and we're going to tell our own stories. So,
Dope,
yeah.
dope. Now, something I want to go back to. We're gonna keep talking about that, but something I want to go back to that I gotta focus on. You said you went back and got your two sons. Now,
Yes.
are you meaning you got them and from that point on they was living with you? Why?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so talk about
Yep.
why. That's some deep shit. Why did you
Sure.
think? Because you could have said they gonna live here. I can get them on the weekends. Let's go to court and do some type of thing to get joined. Why was it so important to say, nah, I'm going to get my sons?
Because that wasn't in my DNA. That
Mm-hmm.
was not in my DNA. When I was 19 years old, 20 years old, when I first met my wife, my previous wife, I was already ready for a family, right? So me at 20, how old was I when my first son was born? 22. Before we even conceived, we talked about it and we said, let's make a son. I mean, I was young, dumb, and you know the rest,
Yeah,
full of, you know,
yeah.
all of that. So, but I really felt like I was ready. Now, she was not the person I should have done it with, but I was ready. And even when she came and told me this is not working, even when I found out she had cheated, which is why she said it wasn't working, I was still trying to make it work because
Damn.
I did not want my family split up. That was the last thing I wanted. I wanted to be that father that woke them up in the morning. I wanted to be that father that put them in bed every night. I didn't want to be weekends. I didn't want to be, split the month or anything like that. I wanted to be in their lives 24 hours. And I was committed to that from day one. From the time I decided to conceive a child, I was committed to that. So it was not an option. So I went back and got them. Plus, I knew the type of stuff she was on. And I never drag her, but I'll leave it at that. Type of stuff she was on, I did not feel comfortable at all leaving her completely in charge. So I was not going to be doing that. Now, what happened was we ended up agreeing initially that she would come and get them on weekends, and then she could do that and bring them back. However, that turned into a couple weekends, and then you don't hear anything, kind of chasing her down, and that. So she has not been, actively involved in their lives for the past 19 years.
Damn.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep.
Damn. So you made the right decision, brother. That's
Absolutely. I knew what I was doing.
Man.
I knew what I was doing. Yes.
That's hindsight. I know young fathers who, because you're looking at the future, like I see the environment this woman may produce for my children, and I gotta be honest and say this ain't healthy for them. Opposed to being a selfish young man and saying, well, shit, she got to deal with it. She ain't mom. She got to deal with it. So, brother, that type of hindsight is necessary in all of us. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So let me tell you this. From when our first son was conceived, I went to every single prenatal visit, and I slept. The only time I left the hospital after my son was born was when I went to KFC to get chicken. Other than that, I slept in the hospital. My son was in the first son was in the NICU for like a week or so, and I stayed there. So that already, I had it in me. It was just innate. So you go through all of that. There is absolutely no way you are, abandoning your children. And then, like I said, add on top of that some of the things that I knew, what she was doing and how she was and all of that. Even when we had separated, like I wasn't 100% with it, even for the weekends. But I'm like, that's your mom. I'm not gonna keep you away from your biological mom. I'm not gonna do that. But she brought it upon herself. And when we went to the divorce hearing, when I went to the divorce hearing, she didn't show up, and I was granted full custody off the rip.
Damn.
Yep.
Damn. But that's good, brother. We need more men like you, man. Because I see a lot of young men in our community, and I can look at them and tell that their mother, because the mother's tongue is important, man. Like how young men treat their mom, and how tough it can be for a woman who may not have everything together. And when a dude ain't there, that creates a lot of the negativity we see in our community with these young dudes. Of course, we got a system on our ass that does a lot to disenfranchise our community. We got to be honest. Sometimes when it's a mom who's not ready to give that tough love, who's not ready to give that structure and that discipline, and there's no father there, it kind of fucks up our community completely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I totally agree. And I feel good these days based on what I see in the group and how many young men I see that say, look, I'm getting ready to have my first child. So already with that, the commitment, you're there, you're involved, and on top of that, you're coming to this group because that's a place where you can learn and get advice and all of that stuff. So I have to take my hats off to a lot of young fathers out here, and I'm just appreciative that we have this platform, and I don't ever mind tooting my own horn. The Black Fathers Facebook group, yes. So if for these young men that are coming and saying, I'm about to have my first child, it's really exciting to see them being so excited about it and so committed.
And that's important. And you make a great point, because that's the start of it. When a woman tells you she's pregnant, and for however it came about, when she tells you she's pregnant, typically once it settles in, your mentality about the situation gets established. Am I going to run this? Am I going to be not sure about her? So that's going to make me back off of the kids. You're right. When you see a dude who commit fully, in the back of your mind, when things get tough, he's still going to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. because that love won't let you leave. And that's the thing about it. It's different. Even if you got the struggle, you know, your baby mom could be a total bitch and a half. But when you love that child and you're
Yes.
committed to that child, you're gonna fight through all of that tooth and nail to be involved in your child's life.
Yes. And that's why I tell young dudes, like, I, just because you have a baby and that baby has your last name, there won't be a bond created just because you're a kin. You have to
Right.
put in the time. And sometimes
Yep.
you have a young dude where the mom, you know, the mothers bring the baby home, live with the kids live with the mom typically. You got to make it a point to infuse yourself in your kids' lives. And when you do it early enough, it sets it up for the rest of their life. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
You're gonna love this person. You're not gonna ultimately love this person just because you're the father. You gotta be around them.
Right.
You gotta be around them. You gotta go through the changing the diapers. You gotta go through the Similac. You gotta do all this stuff. That creates a love. And sometimes when I see a dude who got a 12 or 13-year-old that he don't fuck with, and somebody can say, how, why? Well, if he's never been around the kid, never changed the diaper, not in the same city, that's just a person with your last name.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It's like my wife and I watched Married at First Sight. I don't know if you ever watched
I know.
that, but it's the same kind of deal. You just throw two people together that ain't never known each other, and then they talking about, do you love me? Like, I barely know you. So yeah, I understand totally.
You know what I mean? Relationships is about consistency and getting all relationships. You can't have a solid relationship with nobody you don't fuck with. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
And something else you mentioned, like in your Facebook group, and even my podcast that I have, and everything I do on my platform, because I like sports. Shit, I like fat ass, but I don't want to talk about these things. No, I prefer to talk about what's going on with our community, what's going on with a man as a parent. Talk to me about your son. Is he walking yet? Is he? When we get together, and as I've become more of a conscious man, I've had to make adjustments. Like, I don't watch sports as much as I used to. I love them, but in a group of men, I don't really want to talk about sports as much. So I got to make adjustments because, like you just said, that's kind of all we focus on when we're with each other. So to get men to open up, which they will, to get them to open up about their kids and what's going on, that's when the real work starts to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And yeah, I ain't knocking sports or fat asses. I like both of them myself as well, you know, but there's so many other things to talk about, you know, that we need to incorporate as well. And especially and the thing about it is I see so many changes, what I believe I like to call the evolution that we go through. And there are a few of them that I see, but the more that we talk about these kind of subjects and the more that we are very transparent, we start to change people's thinking, because, you know, people think one way. If all you talk about is sex, if all you ever talk about is how much money you make, you know, then you're not getting into the other things that need to be addressed that we can improve upon. Like a lot of our emotional and mental immaturity that a lot of us have, to the degree where we can't even disagree with anybody without cussing them out or threatening to kill them and things like that. So it's just like the more we talk about these things, and the more, especially within the group, because we have rules where you can't just get out of pocket and still expect to just walk away and everything be okay. You get out of line and you got a problem to deal with. So we keep it with the rules and the guidelines. We keep it in a way where we have civility about things. Whereas you can certainly agree, nobody ever has to agree on anything, but you're gonna keep it civil and you're gonna understand how to talk to each other. And part of the practice for that is not being so quick to respond. And I think that's a problem. Even myself, I'm still have room to grow in this aspect. But a lot of times we see something and we don't even really fully know the person's intent behind it, but we assume, because in our mind it just goes right there. We go to our feelings, fuck you, nigga, bye bye, you know. But if we just sit back, take the time and process, we understand it's not that deep. And I think that can, you know, that can translate to a whole lot of things in our lives, and it would make a change for the better if we just take a minute, take a breath, process. Sometimes it ain't that serious, or sometimes I can still debate you on it, but I need to just find the words to craft it so I'm not coming across as, I'm totally demeaning you or just being disrespectful and that whole sort of thing.
And that's important in this day and time that you say that, because context is king. Like once I
Yeah.
online and I started to communicate with people, I'm more of an introverted personality. So I'm taking it at first, I'm taking everything serious because I'm not saying nothing I don't mean. I speak to people online like they're right in my face. That's my rule. That's how I keep it respectful. I treat you like you right in my face. If I ain't gonna cuss you out if you right here, I ain't gonna do it online. You know what I mean? So you gotta
Yes.
understand the context of stuff. Okay, let me ask
Yes.
more questions. Let me see what they mean. Because we in this
Yes.
culture where everybody's ready to cancel everybody. You know what I mean?
Sure enough. Sure enough. I'm the same way. That is my philosophy as well. If I'm not going to say it to your face, I'm not going to say it online. And that's what I wish more people would do too, because, we run into those problems in a group where people say things where I know for a fact that if this person was standing right in their face and they did not know them from a can of paint, they would not say that to them. And some of the things are not even like that hardcore, but it's some stuff where it's just like, bro, you just wouldn't say that. Like if somebody, I had created a commercial, for the group, and one of the first responses somebody said was, "That music is trash, yo." like what? First of all, I didn't ask for your opinion, but damn. And then he tells me, "Well, I'm a professional. I do this for a living." I'm like, damn, well, that makes it that much even worse. You're a professional. You don't know how to talk to me better than that. But it's just, people feel like they can say whatever
They
online.
feel like they can say whatever. They're entitled. Yes. Their opinion is important almost. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. I'm like, okay, so if I walk past you down the street and I don't like your shoes, I can just like, what the fuck are those? I can just do that to you because you know what I mean?
Nobody does that in real life. We see it and think it. We see it and think it, but you're not going to say that.
Because you'll get punched in your mouth.
And the internet, like I was telling somebody the other day, the internet, all them dudes in school who nobody would talk to.
Yeah.
They ain't had a nice outfit. The girls didn't like them. They online right now thriving. You know what I mean?
Talking cash shit.
So we got to be aware of who out there. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yep.
So I want to get into, so we talked about the Facebook group. How did that transition into the foundation?
So what happened was over the course of so many years, people every now and then, mainly when we would get on the news or any kind of publicity, people would say, "Oh, you should start a nonprofit. You should do this. You should do that." So the thought had been there, but I just didn't know about if the execution, if I had it in me, and then if all these people that was online talking and pumping my head up was really going to be there to support it. So I kind of, pushed it off for a while until I just couldn't anymore. I got into, it was two programs I got to roughly around the same time. One is the Practitioners Leadership Institute here in Baltimore, and I got accepted into that, and that was designed to basically teach you how to run a nonprofit organization, particularly based in Baltimore, working with Black and brown population. So I got into that, learned a lot from that, and I also got into the Facebook Community Leadership Program. And Facebook Community Leadership Program was based around 115 people who got accepted into the program. We were all giving funding at various levels, and then also training at different levels. So we got together 3 times to meet and talk about all of this stuff. So within that process, being accepted into the leadership program, you had to come up with a project, and most, really based around your group, because everybody who was accepted has a Facebook group they started and all this stuff. So the project would pretty much be based around some aspect of your group. So we decided to go on and start the foundation because we were getting this grant money that we had to spend up and everything. So that's how that came about. We finally said, we're going to make it happen. Wife and I talked about it. I went through the program and learned all the stuff. And that was really it. And we started with our first thing wasn't necessarily the gala, but that was our really big splash. Like, here we are. We had our gala at the Reginald Lewis Museum and all of that. And we did some other activities, giveaways. We had a parents' night out right after the gala, and then we did a movie screening of 1982 with Hill Harper, So all of those sorts of things that we were putting together, as the foundation got created. But we wanted to have the idea was really that we could have this entity that would be pretty much an extension, not directly linked to the Facebook group, right? It's not like a one-for-one thing, but it related in the fact that, of course, I started it, but also that we would be pushing into the group to spread the information, to help fund. That's the primary thing, is that I've always figured for a long time when we had 10,000, 20,000, everybody says, well, if everybody just puts $1, then you don't have to ask anybody else for money. So now we have 77.7 thousand people, $1 from all of those people, that'd be a lot of money. So that was really, my thinking as far as calling it a foundation and really having the idea for it to be a foundation, which would actually fund other organizations. So that is one of our main goals, is to be a Black-led funding organization that funds other Black-led organizations.
Oh.
And I still, in my heart of hearts, believe there's no reason why we can't be primarily self-sustaining. I wouldn't be 100% because we take money from whomever, and I'm not shucking the job for nobody. But if you're giving me your money and I don't have to change nothing and I ain't selling out, then I'll take your money, right?
There we go.
But I really want us. I see no reason why, with this many people, why we can't really be a self-sustaining organization, whereas we don't have to. We can ask other people for money, but we don't have to. We're not sitting here begging and crying and saying we won't survive because the white man won't give me no money. It should never be like that with all of those people in there.
There you
It
go.
shouldn't ever be like that.
There you go. There you go. And that's a great way to take that attention that you garnered and mobilize it into something great. And I kind of see what you're doing, brother, and I salute you for that. Now, something else
Thank you.
touch on,
Appreciate that.
because you in Baltimore. Like, I'm in Sacramento, California, where, like every city and state, we got our hoods and we got our urban community here. But I'm aware of how Baltimore is as well, right? So talk to me about your city and how they have embraced your organization.
Oh man, it's been love, a lot of love. Of course, I mean, as always, some of the people that you expect don't necessarily, run to it like you think they would or whatever. And I ain't gonna dug my city, but some people ain't quite as supportive. But no, overall, I think it's been fantastic. Like I said, we had our gala at the Reginald Lewis Museum downtown. Awesome turnout, and with everything we do, of course, the money piece can be a struggle. You would think that people would just be making it rain all over the place, and that's not always the case. But even in terms of just supporting our endeavors when we do certain work and things like that, we've gotten so much love. We definitely have, from the people that really, really rock with us. It's been awesome. And then even meeting some other people along the way who we didn't know, it really has been tremendous. That's for sure.
And you know what? I think it's always better to focus on the positive. So it's always better to focus on the people who are fucking with you, opposed to the people who are not, because that'll run you crazy. You know what I mean? And being in the Black community, what I'm learning, trying to present like positive content, that can be a struggle at times, because I'm not rapping, I'm not singing, ain't no asses being shaken over here. You see?
Right.
So I'm trying to bring history and stuff, and with our people are with it. You just got to present it to them in a certain way. But some of our people are going to be a little hesitant, just how this system has kind of taught us to look at Black people suspicious. So you see somebody Black doing something positive, you like, wait a minute, what's your angle? I'm like, nah.
Right.
I'm just here to help, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I can't lie. I know for a fact that this media attention has helped a lot, because that makes a difference. It's kind of sad, but it's human nature, in that we respect and love celebrity so much that we appreciate people more when they are attached to celebrities and stuff like that.
Very true.
So I can't lie. I may not have gotten as much love if I wasn't on Steve Harvey, or if I wasn't, so some of that, honestly, it comes from that. But outside of that, I think I really do, like you said, I focus on the positive, and I know that the people who really rock with us, they are sincere, and in everything they do, and that's what matters the most. I've learned, a long time ago, I've been putting events together, inviting people out and all of that kind of stuff for a long time. And I used to worry about the numbers, but I got to the point very quickly where I said the people that's supposed to be here, they
Don't
here,
be
and
here.
that's all I can worry about.
It's 5 people or it's 55 people. You got to treat
Yep.
but you got to treat it the same way. So I completely understand that. Now we
Yep.
talked about it for a minute, but tell me because we talked about it for a second, but tell me again, what do you think are like some of the biggest misconceptions about us from outside of our community and from inside of our community as far as Black fathers are concerned?
So first and foremost, and the one that still sticks is the business of just making babies that we are not prepared to care for. We have no interest in caring for, and we just want to stick our dicks everywhere and everything and just keep it moving. And that, I think, is the main one. And then the thing about, what we talked about earlier, as far as people thinking that because you're not married to the mom, that you're not involved, or even that you don't live in the household. Because that's the other thing, like, you can not be married and be living together. I know plenty of people who live together and they're not married.
Yeah, me, I am. Yeah,
right. And like and then again, you have the ones who are not in the household but still have a lot of interaction with the child and engagement, are fully engaged. So I think that's the thing. And then of course it's problematic in just the fact that we are Black. There are things that just go along with that simply by us being Black men.
Yeah.
And people having this mindset. So that creates a large problem, especially when we talk about family court and all of those things. Because when you walk into a courtroom and the judge already has it in his mind that you ain't shit just because you're a Black man, then those are the things that we really have to face. I tell people, perception shapes reality. So that is much of the reason why I push so heavily with the content, so people can have something that challenges their misconceptions and their perceptions and all of that. You can't unlearn that stuff. If you taught racism, you can't unlearn it, but you can learn other stuff that counteracts that what you've learned before, right? So that's the point of us pushing this and having this content and all of that, so people can see that. Because a lot of times you run into people that say, well, I take care of mine, I'm good. Mine know I'm a good father and all of that. But it's not just about yours, because what happens to that day, if you ever have to go in that courtroom, or you ever have to look at that police officer and they're judging you just by the color of your skin, and then they don't care and they're going to shoot you down just because you're Black. They don't care you got kids. You know what I mean? You could be the father of the decade. They don't care. You're still a Black man. You're still in America, and you still have to deal with that.
Yep, definitely. It's funny you say that, because my next question kind of goes into that. Looking at, because it sounds like you're aware of our position in this country, right? So everything we go through with police brutality, the disenfranchisement of our people, how does that bleed into your organization? Like, do you change how you maneuver based on what you see going on in society, or is it just a thing of staying the course because you're already addressing these things?
Yeah, it's a thing of staying the course, because realistically, like, we face this on a regular basis. So it's not anything. It's as interesting, because it takes me back to right after George Floyd and Breonna Taylor both had been murdered, and the uprising started and all of that sort of stuff, the protests and everything. There were quite a few people who asked me, well, how has it been with your group? How has it affected your group, and all of those sorts of things? And I would hear about other people. You have groups that are mixed, diverse or whatever, and primarily white led. So of course you have people who don't know this as a reality in their lives, right? So they're like, oh my God, I can't believe Black people have to live like we've been making this shit up all this other time. Like, oh, now you get it, motherfucker. But so they're in these groups and they have to have these tough talks about race and all of that. And I'm like, we all Black. We live this every day. This is another day in America for us.
There we go.
So we really don't have to shift anything, because we know what it is. All we got to do is keep doing what it is that we do. And that's all we can do,
There we go. That's great, brother. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man. And
it's over already.
Huh?
I said it's over already.
No. and shed some light on your organization and everything you've been doing. Now, another question I have for you. So for a young Black father, like, what, because you have some good examples of the right thing to do as a father, right? So a young Black father, he's 21, 22, a young Black father, what advice do you give him to make things right? Because the ultimate goal is for us to be around our kids for their entire lives and to imbue wisdom, resources, so they don't got to sell dope, so they don't got to go to the streets, so they don't have to experience any of that. Like some of the poverty and things that we go through, that shit affects everything. It affects the whole life cycle pretty much. So what would you talk to a young dude about? Like, what would you want him to understand about fatherhood and about life to help him with his kids?
So it's kind of tough to answer that, in the sense that it would really, the best way to go about doing it would be to have an ongoing conversation, not, you know what I mean, and not just a one-time thing. If I could only talk to him once, I would say buckle up, buddy, because it's going to be a ride, you know. But the thing is, what the most important thing to know is that fatherhood truly is a joy. It's a gift, you know, and I love every day of it, which is why I made sure that I was in my kids' lives every day, and nothing was going to stop me from that. But I think people have to understand that even sometimes for all of that, like I hear people say, oh, there was nothing that could stand in my way. Well, there are a couple of things, and one of them is called a judge, and one of them called a police officer. And actually, sometimes one of them is called a baby mom. But so there are some things that actually can keep you away. I think the thing about it is to understand that it has to be really inherent in you that you love this child, you want the best for this child, and you will do everything you can in your power to be involved in this child's life. But you also have to know that it can be an uphill battle. So it really depends on your situation. You know, you got to, and I think one of the other most important things is to inform yourself and be prepared, because it all hinges on the situation. If you have you met the best person in the world you could have had a baby with, and all of that stuff, and things are going well, then you're skating. You know, you're good. You're fine. But if you come across one that's not, and you done laid down and you done got her knocked up and things have changed, or you discovered the real her or anything like that, then it's going to be some trouble. But we got to be prepared. And I think that's so often we are not prepared for the possibilities, you know. So even in just laying down, like, you got to be prepared. I told, you know, when I talk to young folks, I tell them, you know, you don't make babies playing PS5. You don't make babies shooting hoops on the ball court. You make babies getting between some legs and doing business, right? So when you do that, you need to be prepared off the rip that there is a possibility, a strong possibility, that you will get this young lady pregnant, right? So you already have to go into that prepared. So as you go along, once it's already happened, if you weren't prepared then, you have to get all the information, soak up all the game, as we say, and all of that stuff, and also work to surround yourself with people who can pour into you, which is why I love the group so much. But even if you're not in the Facebook group, then get some physical, people that that you can rely on to get information on, because things are going to change all the time. Stuff is going to come up that you can't prepare yourself for. You try to prepare yourself for all the possibilities, but you never know. Anything could happen. You could be going along and everything swimmingly, you in love, she in love, and then one day she meet another nigga, and that's that. Or you meet somebody else and you fuck it up or whatever. It ain't always on the woman. I don't want to make it like that. You know what I mean? So things change. You can't always be prepared, but at the end of it, if your heart is truly in it for that child, then that's what has to matter most. And you will do whatever you can for the sake of that child. That has to be the bottom line. So, yeah, if I only talked to him once, I would tell him all that.
Now, another question. So, because you have sons, this is interesting to me. So, because I have my idea on this. When should we start talking to our sons about sex? Like, when should we begin the conversation surrounding the allure of a woman? Once you feel a certain way, it's damn near like it's off to the races. So how do we prepare them for that, if we can? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think part of it, I would say, definitely depends on the maturity of the child and what they can process. But I think once you start to get a grip on that, I think you kind of ease it in early, though. You don't wait, because we know that we started early. We wasn't, we started early. So that's the first thing. You gotta understand that they're children and they're doing a lot of the same things that we did. So we can't sit and pretend now because we're parents that they wait until they're 27 and 30 because they're not, right? They're doing the same as we did. And some even younger because they got so much access to porn on their phones.
Social media, all that
and
stuff.
all of that kind of stuff. So you can't necessarily put any one number on it, but I think you have to try to get them as early as you think that they are ready to handle it. And I think we all just got to work on being open and having continuous open lines of communication, because again, that's another thing that's kind of fluid. Things change. One minute they hate girls, they can't stand the sight of them, they got cooties and all that, and the next thing you know, they brushing their teeth and putting deodorant on and all this shit they wasn't never doing because the little girl smelling behind them, right? So I think that's it might be too late with the teeth brushing because they already on it at that point. When they start brushing their teeth and putting that deodorant on regularly, you if you ain't had the conversation about sex already, you better do it that day.
That's
on the spot.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Now, another question before we go, because I like your answer, so I'm just curious to what you think about it. Because it doesn't, and I may be wrong, with your two sons, because you took them, you never was in the child support system, right? You never had to pay her child support.
Correct.
Like that. What's
Correct.
your views on child support? Like, is it hurting our community? Because here, I know some women who have a dude they got a baby by, and this may be a girl that I know, a cousin, a family member, and her baby daddy ain't shit. Like, I understand men who struggle though. Like, you're trying to find a job, you're trying to find a place to stay, but you in there, you're trying to help out. I know some dudes who say fuck it. And a part of me, because I don't like the child support system. I don't like how they put interest on my kids. I don't like how I've been treated when I go in there. It's been a horrible experience for me personally. But I be thinking, damn, if my little cousin had a baby with this dude, I love my little cousin. This nigga ain't shit. He ain't never been around.
Yeah.
Should she go get child support? I mean, what's she supposed to do?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So for me, first thing I'll say is that I actually attempted to start a case against my ex-wife for support. I had to jump through more hoops than a tiger at the circus, man. It was ridiculous. And even with that, when they went to serve her several times and said they couldn't find her, and I just finally said fuck it, and I gave up. Right. So in hindsight, I do regret that because I just feel like there are, first of all, both parties were responsible for creating this child. Both parties should be responsible for caring for this child, for the financial care of this child. Both should be responsible, right? And even though I met my current wife and everything was good, we was all straight in love, everything, and she was earning way more than me. So, we weren't necessarily struggling, but as somebody else put it, there are things that could have been done on top of things. Like, I could have saved more money for my kids for college, or I could have, anything that we could have done with this additional money that was coming from their biological mom, right? That should have been. So I am for it in those cases where, so in general, I will say, again, everybody, I think, has a financial responsibility to take care of their child. If you are doing so by choice, you're already doing it, you're giving the money directly to the mom or directly to the kid, I think there is no way you should have to be forced to get the system involved and do those sorts of things. However, I do feel like you said, in the case of the ain't shit dad or the ain't shit mom, I think they have a bad responsibility. They helped create this child, and they should help take care of it financially. And if you have to be forced to do that, then so be it. Yes, there are a lot of things wrong with the system. There are a lot of things that should be changed. No man should be on the verge of homelessness or even face homelessness or choose, whether he can pay this or eat or whatever that. That's truly fucked up. But I also believe that to whatever his capacity is, whatever he can afford and still survive and not almost die or almost be on the street or whatever, he should bear some responsibility, So that's why I didn't like when my father was tripping over, I won't even say the amount, but it was tiny. He was tripping. I was like, come on, Dad. But if that's truly what he could afford, then so be it. I don't think it was all he could afford, but I didn't trip because I'm like, yo, he's putting something toward the table. My mother's handling her business. So that's something my father could have done a little bit more.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, thank you, brother. I don't want to keep you too much longer, man. We're gonna have to do this again too, man.
Oh yeah, it's been a pleasure. Just felt super short, man.
Yeah. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate everything you do.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
I'm way over here in California, man, but we just need more brothers like you. In my mind, man, it's 40 something million of us. If all of us got on one accord, the system wouldn't matter. We would still have those roadblocks, but if we got on one accord together, we can combat a lot of the shit we see happening.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And check this. So we have members on six continents, right? We have a large following on the continent of Africa. And, you know, developing that and getting all of the brothers, like there's so many more of us just in the United States alone. So imagine, you know, the black men, the majority, however many black men in the U.S. joining the group, the brothers in Africa and all over, and we come together. This could be incredibly powerful stuff, man. It really, really could.
You know what I mean? Because we talk a lot about the roadblocks that the system put up for us, which they do at every turn. But I'm gonna be honest, we not unified enough either. Like I was telling somebody the other day, we was talking about racism and how bad it is and how they want to fuck something up. I'm like, man, look, we're not ready to go to war. That's what we're talking about. Military, mentally, we're not ready to go to war. We don't even love each other yet. We got to continue to build upon liking each other even. Shit. Seeing somebody that look like you as your brother. That be one of my biggest goals. When I see a young brother get killed in Baltimore or Texas or Florida, I'm enraged because that's my brother. I don't want something to happen to somebody in my family for me to say, okay, it's time to stand up. Nah.
Right.
Everybody, all you black in America, we family. And then we can go from there.
I'm the same way. Yep.
You know what I mean?
I'm the same way. And that's really why I keep hammering home the need for us to be respectful and civil with each other, because it's not going to get us anywhere to sit here and be arguing with each other, shitting on each other, and then we have to go out in society and face all the shit that we face from the greater society too. No, that's crazy. That's why we need to uplift one another, and we can learn from each other. If I don't agree, you saying something I don't agree with, that's an opportunity for me to learn. I might look at it a different way, listening to what you have to say. But if I just shut you down off the break, then that's something I could have learned and I cheated myself from. So it's important that we do realize at some point we got to come together, and it's got to come together for more than just to be pissed off at the police because they did something.
There we go.
You know what I mean? It can't just be at those times when the flames are high, then we want to get all hot and we want to do all this stuff. But when things cool off, we still sitting back in the corner like it's all good.
So. It can't be just when the police do something to us. It can't be just to have fun. Because I'm gonna tell you, here in Sacramento, we'll have like a lecture series where a black professional will come, like Runoko Rashidi and all these people come to Sacramento and talk, right? Bro, it'd be like 12 people in that room.
Yeah.
But Lil Boosie come, the arena gonna be packed.
Yes.
You see what I'm
saying? Indeed.
So we got some
I know it.
as far as what we think is important when you say when the flames ain't hot. When shit is normal, you love black folks then. When you ain't got no problem, when your money is cool, ain't nobody killing us. You gotta love us then too. You know what I mean?
Indeed, yeah, and that, and sadly, it goes back to what I said earlier about the celebrity. Like we love the celebrity no matter what. They could be the most terriblest person doing the shitty stuff, but they rich and they famous and we love them. But somebody else coming to give us knowledge and we like, fuck that nigga.
You know what I
mean?
Because you ain't got on the big chain or you ain't got on hella jewelry. But again, that's for us as fathers. I think the whole materialistic shit that we go through is based on black people just not having anything. So, man, I may not have any resources. My mom ain't got no money, but I got these Jordans on, though.
Yeah.
This is my past. These make me feel like I'm okay in this country. You see
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
But I think as parents, when are we going to say, okay, look, I talked to my youngest son is 13. He lives with me. we talk about everything that goes on outside of the home, everything that goes on with us outside of our house. Now, he is a part of Black culture, so he likes some of the rappers. He likes how they dress. He likes being cool. But it's my job to say, look, this is reality.
Yeah.
I know you like him, but it's a strong possibility he could be lying to us. So let's not take his word for it. It's entertainment. Let's look at this shit like the white kids look at it. They don't want to be Dr. Dre. They just want to peek into his world for a second and run back where the fuck they from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I sure do. You're absolutely right. And I think that's super important. I remember somebody telling me that too, is to not try to hide, or shield your kids from this stuff, because they're going to get it regardless. I think the thing is to explain to them and help them understand what's real and what's not. So you're absolutely right. I totally agree with that.
You know what I mean? And I think for the most part, it's a resource-based thing. Growing up, I didn't know many dudes who sold dope with two parents and both of their moms had nice jobs. That was just an idiot. You know what I mean? That was an idiot, and it was rare. These guys, I remember guys whose mom was on crack. I used to go to their house. They have nothing in the refrigerator, nothing in the cabinets. What the fuck you supposed to do?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So sometimes we put our kids in positions where the likelihood of them having the type of future we want is not there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then we look at how much money we spend every year. I know white folks and everybody spend a lot of money, but we don't have it, and we spend a lot of money every year. So when people tell me, I don't got it, because on my show, the Melanated Combo Podcast, I talk about Black businesses, right? Sometimes I'll present a business that sells clothes or some shit, and the clothes will be expensive. And somebody will hit me like, damn, that shirt $100. I'm like, whoa. If Gucci made that shit, you paid $350 for it. So what are we talking about? There's a website called the Black Dollar Store. On this website, there's shoes. The shoes are inspired by like Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X, like the Malcolm X runners. Some fly shit in my mind, right? I wear these shoes, the most comfortable. I got a pair of Jordans. These shoes are way more comfortable than my Jordans. They cost $60. I wear these shoes. I gotta explain them to Black people. I got them, the black designer. They're like, wait, no, where? Them new Margellas, them new. No.
Oh,
it's
wow.
A designer. You laughing at my shoes? You this nigga mind. The nigga mind.
It's truly that. It's truly that.
You know what I mean?
Because if they would have said Gucci, they would have been like, oh, yo, that's the shit.
Let me take a picture of them. But once I tell you, we made it, immediately in your mind, you devalue it.
Yeah. It's sad. I was so happy. I came to know the SIA Collective, SIA, somewhere in America. Not sure if you're familiar, but I know they're on Instagram, and it's this Black dude who makes sneakers and heels and clothing and all of that stuff. And he had an event in Atlanta. And I was, man, you don't know how happy I was to see he had a line that was going down the street. It was like the slutty vegan, the way that she be getting the support.
Yeah.
That's why people say Atlanta is it, brother, because the black people will come out and support. And I saw that. I was so happy to see that, because you're right. It's far too often that the shit could look the exact same way. You got some attack. And that's why, you know what? I don't know this for a fact, but I am almost 100% certain that I know of some Black people who do clothing, and I don't say make, they press the vinyl on the t-shirt or whatever, but they use Italian names, because that's just our mindset, that if the shit says something Italian, then it's gotta be the shit, or something French, whatever. It's a ball main, and they paying all this. What the fuck is a ball main? You don't know. You just know it costs a shit for $1,000 for a pair of jeans. Out of here.
And then we can find out that the company making this particular clothes don't give a shit. They can say, hey, Blacks, don't wear my shit now.
Right.
We're gonna be like, for 3 weeks, we'll be like, yeah, we ain't gonna wear it.
And not only that, it's all made in the same factory as all the other shit. So this 300, this 50, and they made in the same factory, but you want to pay the 250 extra.
You know what I mean? So it's like a priority shift that we have to have based, but That's why on my website, my platforms, I talk so much about history. I'm of the understanding that if you got a clear understanding of where you came from and everything we've been through in this country, you'll slowly begin to change your mind about what you're looking at.
Oh, I agree.
You'll get off that
Absolutely.
hamster wheel and begin to see
Yes.
it for what it really is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's why they don't teach our kids that history in
Right.
school. And that's why it's what, five is it 5 now films, Hidden Colors? Man, all of that stuff is the real deal, because they intentionally hide that stuff from our kids, because they know how powerful we would be if our kids came up 5 years old and they understood about the empires in Western Africa and
Come on,
you
now.
know, Mali and Kush and
Come on.
all of that stuff. If they knew about that, it would be a whole different world out here. They don't want our kids to know that stuff.
And it's funny, if you look at a picture of an African king, just his ensemble, he gonna look like your favorite rapper. So you mean that's not a connection? Like Manson
Right,
was
right.
shit, and he had gold everywhere.
Yeah.
So maybe we ain't as materialistic as maybe some of this shit is in our DNA a little bit.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But if you're not
Yes.
taking the time to understand it, if you're not taking the time to research it and know it, and not teaching your
Mhm.
kids, because if you got small kids in the house and you're not giving them this game, it's kind of on you. You know what I mean?
Yep. Sure enough.
Yep. All right,
Sure
brother.
enough.
Well, I'm not gonna keep you any longer, man. Thank you again, Matt, for coming with me, bro. I'm gonna talk to you again soon. We'll find something to talk about. But I appreciate your organization. Keep doing everything you're doing. I just tapped into your Facebook page, so I'm gonna watch the little stuff you be having. I know you got something March 8th, right, with some NFL players.
Yeah, Foundation Conversations.
Okay.
So we do an installment of Foundation Conversations every second Monday of the month, and then if it carries over, we'll do a second part 2 weeks after that. So the next one is coming up March 8th. We call it March Dadness, and we have Etan Thomas, former Washington Wizard, Oklahoma City Thunder, and Atlanta Hawk, and he's currently an author, public speaker, several great books out there, and a writer in different news outlets and stuff. We have Marcus Smith, who formerly of the Washington football team that shall remain nameless.
Right. Football team.
Yeah. And Tavon from the Jets. God, why can't Tavon Mason? Oh, I had a senior moment. That's my guy too. That's terrible. Don't tell him I said Tavon Mason. Cut that part out. I'm getting old, but Tavon Mason, formerly of the New York Jets, and all of these dudes are writers. They're all public speakers, advocates, activists, and everything. So I think it's going to be a fantastic show. It's 7 p.m. Eastern, so 4 o'clock your time.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Keep
it
pushing,
streams. Streams to our page, the Black Fathers Foundation page. Streams to the Black Fathers group, our Twitter and YouTube. We're working to get it to stream more places. So if you can catch it live, then if you don't catch it live, then you can catch the replay anytime you want after that.
Got it. Definitely. And everybody, do me a favor, man, and go to blackfatherfoundation.org. You can get an idea of what the brother does in his community. You can go to Black Fathers Foundation on Facebook. That'll give you a real good idea of what he do. And then just Black Fathers Facebook page. If you're not a Black father, it would behoove you to join, because I remember when I first joined, I had an idea of what you were doing, but the shit was dope because dude was like, look, this is what I've been through today with my girl. He breaking it down.
Yeah.
The most beautiful part under is 50 comments of because you know how the internet is. So sometimes comments say all kind of stupid shit. Nah, it's real game under the comments. Even if you're not the one commenting, you can actually go to the page and learn some shit. You was in a situation you was in because the dude was breaking it down. I'm like, okay, I've been through that. I've been through that. It's relative. You know what I mean?
And you know the best part about it for me as admin and all that stuff, the best part about it is when somebody does get out of pocket and somebody else checks them like, nah, we don't do that here. I'm like, yes, my man. I love that, man, because people understand the climate and the culture, and that's what it's about. And they know when somebody's out of line and they fucking up the church money, they gonna get it right. You're not gonna destroy this thing that we have here. It's not happening.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning into the show today, man. Please do me a favor. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Melanated Fathers TV on YouTube. Subscribe to my Facebook page, which is Melanated Fathers TV on Facebook. The website, melanatedfathers.com, is being reconstructed currently. On the YouTube page, you can find my podcast, the Melanated Convo Podcast. We do something called History Matters, where I break down particular people, places, and things from history. We have a lot of news stories on there. It's just all about loving melanated people and getting the best understanding of what we go through in our community, right? So I want to thank you again, brother, for tuning into my show today, man. It's been good talking to you.
Been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Yes,
all right, brother.
Peace out.